What's up everybody, welcome back or to the channel. So today we're going to be doing an unboxing and initial review of the Harley Davidson branded tall boy seat for my 2015 Road King. Now before we jump into that, let's take a quick look at the stock seat first. That way you can see what the seat is. I'll show you what I look like on the bike as a tall guy at about 6'3", 6'4". And then after we do that, we'll install the seat and then we'll come back and take a look at that again to see if there's any major difference between the two seats. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's get this started. Okay, so here we are. So as you can see here is my 2015 Road King. Now I have done some modifications to the floorboards and the shift lever and the brake lever already. I do have 16-inch bars on here as well. I will be swapping those bars out very soon. I have them right over there because these are bagger bars that are actually meant to clear fairing. And because I tend to ride my bike sometimes with fairing, sometimes without, I wanted to make sure I had the bagger bars so that they would come up and be able to go straight up instead of always being on this angle. That way, whether I have the fairing on or not, my bars work. But back to the seat. This is the stock seat that's on here. It's not extremely comfortable, and it basically has me sitting up on the front tank here. I mean, literally, when I'm sitting here, you could barely see this nose of the seat, and it just seems like I have this little pocket right here to sit on. Now, it's just not comfortable, but since I've done the floorboard relocation brackets and the extension levers, it's gotten a little bit better because now I have a little bit more leg room, but it's still not perfect, and I wanted to try to fix that. Now, the reason I chose to go with the Harley Davidson tall boy seat over some of the other custom seats that are out there, I've had multiple Harleys in the past. I've had wide glides. I actually just had a street glide, which I sold. And I've had those $600 and $700 custom seats with the diamond stitching, and they had the gel core technology in them. But the problem is a lot of those seats are not comfortable. I'm just being honest with you. The gel technology that those custom seats have in it make those seats extremely firm, which in some cases is fine. If you do a lot of long distant rides, where you're talking 500 miles a day, 1,000 miles, you're doing these long road trips, then something with the gel core technology in the seat might be better for you, because on those long rides where you're spending hours and hours and hours in the seat, you want that gel core, that high and low density foam, to keep your seating position at the same rate the entire ride. That's fine for those situations, but I'm not doing that kind of riding on a regular basis. Most of my riding is back and forth to work or short trips in the same day of no more than about, say, 6 hours of riding total that day. So I didn't need a firm seat because they're just not comfortable for local riding. I wanted a seat that was going to sit me back a little further, but I didn't want the gel because I wanted a softer seat, and I did not want it to lower me. A lot of those custom seats from Saddlemen and Mustang and LaPera and Corbin and all those, they tend to sit you down a little lower. And I don't like that because as a tall rider with long legs, I don't want to keep sitting down lower because then my knees end up being higher than my hips, which makes riding uncomfortable. So I wanted a seat that was going to be soft and comfortable. I wanted it to shift me back about 2 inches, and I didn't want to be lowered at all in the seat. I wanted to maintain the stock height, but I found that the Harley Davidson tall boy seat tends to fit that description of what I'm looking for. And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and sit on the bike and show you what I look like in the seat, and then we're going to go ahead and swap it out. So let me get the camera set up and let's get this going. Okay, so as you can see here, this is my normal seating position. Okay, if I sit upright, this is my normal seating position. So I'm pretty much like right up on the tank. And when I pull my leg up on the floorboard, I tend to like slide down in the seat into that little pocket. So again, this is my normal seating position right here. So if you want to just pay attention to the bend of my leg, now keep in mind, I do have extended floorboard brackets and extended levers. So those modifications has moved my foot a little forward, so I have less of a bend in my leg, and my leg ends up being a little bit more level. But this is the position I'm in when sitting in the stock Road King seat. Again, it's not the most comfortable, and I do not like my seating position right here. Okay, so when I'm sitting in the seat in a normal riding position, this is pretty much how much of the nose of the seat is visible when I'm sitting here. But again, you can only see a little bit of the seat. So if you look at it right here, I mean, there's the edge of the tank. I literally am almost up on the seat right here. I mean, you can barely, as you can see here, my legs are covering the corners of the tank down here at the bottom a little bit when I'm riding. So again, I just feel like I'm too far forward on the seat, but there's no way for me to go back any further, which is why I'm gonna be going with the Harley Davidson Tall Boy seat. So let's go ahead and unbox this and see what it looks like. Okay, so let's go ahead. Again, I just got this seat in the mail today. I ordered it off Harley Davidson's website. It only took about 2 days, 3 days to get, so it actually came in pretty fast. The packaging is nothing fancy. It's a basic box. Okay. Here's your strap that'll mount to the seat as a grab strap. So we'll set that over there. And then you have some basic literature and instructions on installing it and so forth. So we're going to move that out of the way. Again, it's just covered with a plastic bag. Get that out of the way. Okay, and there you go. Move that strap out of the way. So as you can see here, it's just a nice looking Harley Davidson seat. Okay, nice stitching all the way around. Doesn't look like there's any issues with the seat. I always like to inspect the seats and make sure there's no rips or tears that might have happened in shipping. This is stapled. Again, when you start getting into those custom $700 and $800 seats, they're usually riveted, but this is all stapled, but again, that's fine, not a big deal. Again, this seat is only $399 on Harley's website. So again, it's pretty affordable in terms of custom seats for tall riders. So you got your bracket on the back. It just has this piece of foam here to protect it in shipping. So that's good. A lot of custom seats have that bolted down and flipped the other way, so you have to actually change the hardware. So not a big deal. This seat is pretty much just ready to rock and roll. It's ready to be installed on the bike. The back of this seems to be a little wider compared to the seat that's on the bike now, so my wife will probably like that. Okay, there you go. So as you see here, again, it has the Harley logo right there. Nice wide back. Here's the side profile like that. Get down like that. But I could tell right out of the gate that from the nose to say back here, we'll call it the top of the seat in the back, is definitely longer. Let's see if we can get a measuring tape to that. So if we just clip it right to the nose, okay, we're right about, let's say 21 inches to the top right here, okay? Now if we come over to here, let's just go ahead and put a top on the nose. And as you can see there, we're about 19, probably 18 and a half to 19. So right out of the gate, this one's definitely gonna give me that 2 inches of extra seating room that I was looking for. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna take the backrest off. I'm gonna take this seat off and we're gonna put the new Harley Davidson Tall Boy seat on and see how it looks. Okay, so I went ahead and I took the seat off. Again, you just have to take the back bolt out there, open up your saddlebags. There's access to the bolts right there on both sides to take that grab strap off, and then the seat pops right off. Here's the seats right here laying on the ground so you can see a little bit more of a bird's eye view. As you can see here, look where that back portion is here compared to that. I mean, that's a big difference in seating and legroom. The back passenger portion here seems to be a little wider. It does seem to be not as long, but overall it looks to be a little bit wider for a more comfortable seating position. Okay. We're right about 31 and a half. Come over here, measure that. That's right around 31. So I'd say they're very similar in total length. I think the Tall Boy seat is about a ½ inch shorter, but it gives you a lot more seating room here. I just think the difference is right here. The passenger loses about a ½ inch of length of seat, but the passenger is gonna gain more width. So let's take a measurement of the width. So I'd say that seat there, we just kind of guesstimate the best we can, about a foot, 12 inches, sound about right. And then this one here, I mean, you're looking at about 14. So it looks like on the Harley Davidson Tall Boy seat, the driver is gaining 2 inches of length, but the passenger is gaining about 2 inches of width. So that's pretty good there in my opinion. So let me go ahead, put the new tall boy seat on, and let's go try this seat out. Okay, so we just got it on. I wiped it off a little bit. And again, it's gonna take a little while to kind of let everything kind of stretch into place. Because again, any brand new seat, when you put it on a bike, it's always gonna have a little bit of wrinkling, a little bit of stretching, and it's just gonna need a little bit of time to kind of contour to the bike. But it actually looks pretty good overall. There's a side profile shot. Let's go ahead and sit on it for the very first time and see how this Harley Davidson tall boy seat feels. Okay, so I can automatically tell right away there's a lot more nose of the seat sticking out the front, and I can see the full gas tank and a gap between my thighs and the gas tank. So I know that I'm already a little bit further back. And just sitting here with my legs up on the floorboard, I already feel a lot more leg room. I don't feel like my legs are up so far on the tank, and it gives me a little bit more of a thinner area here to move my legs closer. Because before, my legs were up here in the tank and I had to have a little bit of a wider seating position, which sometimes causes a little bit of discomfort on your outer hip. But now, where I'm sitting here, I have a lot more leg room and it's not bothering me so much. Okay, so if we go ahead and look down, let me get my seating position here, okay? As you can see here, there is all this room here in front of the tank. So this seat definitely sits you back a good bit further. And when my feet are up here on the floorboards, I have plenty of room now to spare. So this really allows me to kind of stretch out. Even when I put my feet up on the highway pegs, my knee was always bent a little bit more. Now I feel like I'm a little bit more stretched out. So far, I'm really liking this Harley Davidson tall boy seat because it definitely gives me a lot more leg room to stretch out as a tall rider, which is ultimately what I was going for. Now, I'm sure my wife is gonna really like this seat as well, because again, to lose a half an inch or so of total length front to back, but to gain 2 inches of total width is only gonna give her a little bit more room to kind of spread out and be more comfortable on that back seat. So I think she's gonna be really happy with that seat there. So far, my initial impressions of the Harley Davidson tall boy seat, I give it a thumbs up, I give it a go. I'm gonna have to ride it a little bit more and see how it feels on my day-to-day rides. It's comfortable. I definitely have a little bit more leg room. It 100% sits me back probably a good 2 inches. It's soft, it's comfortable. It does feel like the seating position from side to side for the driver is a little wider, and I'm sure my wife is gonna like this seat as well. But let's go ahead and measure the width of this seat right here. Okay, so we just try to get it over there on the seat and measure it about right there. We're about 16 inches wide. What's this one? It's still showing about 16 inches wide. I think the problem is with this seat is because this contour comes up and cuts off this right here. You're losing a little bit of this width right here because this contour is shifting you forward. So I think that's a big difference on this seat, is that contour is not as predominant as right here. Like the angle right here is a steeper angle on the stock seat compared to this tall boy seat. So that really is a much more comfortable seat, and I'm really liking it. Now, is it as good looking as some of the custom seats out there that might run you, $700, $800? No. In my honest opinion, I think a lot of those $700, $800 custom diamond stitch seats look better on these bikes, 100%. But they're $700, $800 and they're not as comfortable. I've actually had a couple different extended seats. I've tried Saddlemen. My last custom seat that I bought from Bad Boy Cycles was a really nice extended seat, but I never really felt like they sat me back a whole lot. I might have gained a half an inch, maybe an inch max, but I'd say probably about a half an inch on those extended seats that I was paying $700, $800 for, and they really weren't comfortable. The Bad Boy Cycles seat was a little bit more comfortable compared to the Saddlemen, but it's still a much more firmer seat. This seat is soft and cushy. It actually is gaining you a good 2 inches of length. So if you're a tall rider and you're trying to get the maximum length in your leg room, I would definitely consider this tall boy seat from Harley Davidson, because that's the first seat that has truly given me a good bit of extra length in my leg room. Okay, everybody, we are done. So as you can see, it's a very quick, simple, and easy modification to do to your bike. But if you're a taller rider and you really want maximum leg room and you don't want to spend $700 or $800 on a custom seat, definitely consider the Harley Davidson Tall Boy, because it's a very comfortable seat and it will gain you a good 2 inches of leg room. I didn't specifically measure the leg room, but I can tell you right now, it's pretty significant. It's gotta be at least 1.5 inches, but I'm gonna say pretty close to 2 inches of additional leg room, which is ultimately what I'm looking for. I don't feel like it sat me down any lower, which is also a plus because I don't want to sit lower. I want to sit at the stock level, if not maybe a tiny bit higher, but it did not lower me at all, which is always good. I gained leg room, which is always good. It looks pretty good on the bike and it's comfortable. So for $399, I definitely got what I was hoping to pay for. So my honest initial impressions of the Harley Davidson Tall Boy touring seat, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. Now, is it as good looking as some of those custom $800 seats? No, but at this point, I want a comfortable seat, not something that looks good that's uncomfortable. So that's it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out when you're trying to decide which extended seat is best for you for your touring Harley Davidson. I'd say go with the Harley Davidson Tall Boy seat, but again, there are some really nice options out there if you want to spend more. Just know that I've tried a few of them. I never really felt like I got a full 2 inches of additional leg room on those extended seats. I felt like it was maybe a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, and those seats were really not even that comfortable. But for $399 for the Tall Boy seat, you are going to gain leg room, and it is still a pretty comfortable seat. So in my opinion, I still think the Harley Davidson Tall Boy seat is the best value. But hopefully some of this information helps some of you out. So go ahead and do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you. And as always, see you in the next video.